Hi, everybody. Welcome back for another Wonder Seasons art, another watercolor painting process. Um, these are fun projects I'm working on as a way to improve my watercolor skills. In this traditional sense, I'm still got a lot of things to learn, and I'm practicing, and I thought I would just bring you guys along with me as I work through the process of trying to create a whole scene, like a landscape, with the image being a peacock. And we'll see how this goes. So let me put up the picture. You can see the reference I'm using. This is an AI generated oil painting image of classical scene. So I had something to kind of work from. Sketching in the general idea of the scene. I'm not sticking to it religiously, and sketching in some sort of peacock bird there and working with his head. And then I'm going to come over here and start working on some small tree. And the drawing part I'm just kind of doing pretty quickly, just sort of vaguely putting in some things with the notion, the idea that I'll solve problems with watercolor. Like, how do you make trees look more like trees? How do you make things look more soft and organic? And I was thinking the watercolor would be a good way to address a bunch of stuff. So I ran into issues. The end result pieces, it's okay. It's not wonderful, but let's watch as I go through this. One thing I'm running into is trying to draw while keeping the paper in front of the camera. It's sometimes a little awkward. That's my problem, and I just got to get the camera set up maybe a little better. So here I'm just putting in loose details on the peacock. I know what a peacock looks like, but I don't know what a peacock looks like when it comes to having to draw one. So I needed some reference images. They have those eyes on the tails, and this one's standing on some sort of, I don't know, looks like a little bit of stonework by a little pond or lake in a garden setting. So I'm starting with a background wash for the sun. This is, I think, supposed to be kind of like a morning scene, like the sun's coming up, and I'm putting in some sky, and I'm putting in some stuff, and some red smeared across the paper. I don't know where that came from. And so I'm putting the colors through the trees with the idea that that'll just like bleed through the leaves and through the branches and stuff after I paint those on top, which I think is fine. It's also not, watercolor's a little more tricky than I don't know. I could do this pretty easy in I think oil paint, but so here I'm trying with the wet medium and putting in layers, trying to just sort of let the colors bleed around into soft shapes to suggest trees and foliage. Just like that. I don't know, those nice little more earth tone greens. And then if I'm blotting something, it means that I got too juicy with it. Gotta tone down the watercolor parts. The water, the pond, is kind of gray-green, bluish. I was trying to approximate what to do with it. So in the weird angle I did, I think the level of the horizon line for the pond should have been straighter. It gets a little funky on the edge there. And then I'm using this really nice little, I think it's a Princeton, it's like a number 6, I think, brush. I don't know, it's pretty good just to try and get some of the line work in, or the tree work in. But you can see I'm sometimes a little too heavy with the water, it bleeds out. So here I am trying to just sort of approximate the fluffiness of the trees. So you can see how I did the drawing, but then I tried to sort of just loosely floof the greens around the drawing so it looked a little bit more like fluffy tree imagery. And I'm keeping this stuff in the background softer, like it's in the distance, atmospheric perspective kind of thing, and then trying to add some darkness to things in the foreground. You'll see I added some weird purples in just because I wanted some color to go into the foreground shadow, kind of balance out all the color that's going to be happening on the right side where the peacock is. And I'm just putting in some sort of loose ideas of flowers. I'm not doing anything specific. And now I'm trying to figure out how to approximate the kind of vibrant blue-green of the peacock tail. So I'm just going to have to do it in some layers. And then they have that vibrant blue feathering at the top. And then I'm trying to just sort of, now I got the blue, I'm trying to come back in with some greens on top. Sometimes with watercolors, you can just do a pass, let it dry, and then rework stuff, let it dry, rework stuff, and see if that starts to create more of the color you desired. And here I'm trying to put in like more feathery pulls with like a darker green. A little reddish brown for the feathers on the wings. Coming back in with a number 2 brush, and then I'm just working on that. Here I'm trying to add a little, I think it's some sort of cadmium red, yellow deep, I think is what it was. And getting those eye designs kind of in the beak colored in. And then I'm coming in with a little bit of darker blues, maybe a little indigo or something. And then I was trying to do the eyes with it, which sort of works sometimes. Sometimes if you're not careful, it bloops too much water out and will bleed into the surrounding area, but it mostly was okay. I'm sort of torn. The idea for me for watercolors is this soft, loose coloring that works with the drawing I do. But then I try to get it tighter as if I'm painting with acrylics or oils. So it's, I don't know. I go back and forth, which is probably part of the issues I have when I'm doing watercolor stuff like this. And just putting in some foreground details here. Trying to get some stone coloration. I sure wish I had a garden that had a pond in it. That would be pretty nice. So here I'm putting some yellows at the top of the trees to kind of hint at the sunlight coming through them, and just create a little more variation in that background so it wasn't just a strange blob. Working on those little lily pad ideas. I probably could have tightened up a lot on the lily pads. They look a little lumpy. And just darkening into the shadow areas so it has a little more sense of form on it, I guess. Like the lights on the top and the underparts darker helps us give a little variation. I didn't really apply the whole light and dark to create 3D forms on this so much because, I don't know, I'm just Still trying to figure out the watercolor process. So I'm just putting in some loose trees in the background, like impressions of trees back there. And then putting in some more variations of blues on top and some, oh, look at that nice purples. And, oh, too much purple. What's going on? Oh, I went purple crazy. And then variations to the leaves. You could leave them one tone, but leaves have all sorts of variations within clusters of leaves. There's things in shadows, things in light. Sometimes some leaves have more of a red tint, some have more of a yellow. So you can play with variations and colors in your leaves and make them more interesting. One thing to set, this is all Winsor Newton for the most part. I think it's almost all professional grade. I think there's 1 or 2 Winton Newton, or I don't know what their academy grade is called. I got to pick up a couple more things, more colors. And I don't have a Viridian, so I gotta go buy a Viridian. That's a cool green. That would have been useful in the Peacock. Oh well. So I'm doing a lot of warm greens in that. And it kind of looks okay. Does it look childish? I don't know. I don't know. I think sometimes I get more excited about the process and I have urgency to create it, and then it maybe doesn't come out as good as I was hoping. But the process is fun, and I'm learning, and it's not bad. I showed it to some people that liked it, so I'll give it away to somebody. And I'm putting some more greens in the background, a little more depth. And I wanted to try and figure out how to put reflections of those trees into the water. The paper was dried at this point, and I was a little hesitant on how to do it, because I'm just sort of making this up in my head. So it's me trying to guess how watery reflections would work. I don't think it really looks like a pond. I needed more clarification in the water. It almost looks like grass or something. I don't know. I think the peacock's okay. He needed some shadows under his feet. The flowers were just rough impressions of flowers. I guess I could have spent some time really trying to model the flowers a little better, but I don't know. I was more interested in the peacock and the idea of the landscape scenery. But it's a process, it's practice, and I hope that when you guys watch this, you can learn a little something and maybe get inspiration to go try stuff too. Not everything we do is perfect, but it can still be fun. And life is pretty hard, and you need something to have some fun with. So making art is relaxing, it's therapeutic, it's fun. Just go make some art. Go get a peacock picture or whatever you want. Oh no, these blues. Oh Lord, what am I doing? Trying to salvage the water with turquoise. Should have left alone. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Please share, like, and subscribe. I'll be putting up more honest videos of my art process. And there's the final image. Hope you like it. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.